This week's edition of CBTV Idaho is being brought to you by the Eastern Idaho Workforce Training Center. I'll tell you more about them in a minute, but first here's our top story today. On this week's very special edition of Construction Business TV Idaho, I'm going to play for you some footage that was taken at a press conference which took place in the parking lot of the Idaho Falls Public Library this morning in the exact spot where they plan to construct the new water tower. They're going to discuss their plans regarding the old water tower as well as their construction sequence and timeline regarding the new water tower. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Tyson and you are watching Construction Business TV, Idaho Falls, Idaho.
The existing tower holds 500,000 gallons of water. The new one's going to be double the capacity, so it'll hold 1 million gallons of water. It will be the same height. The height determines what the pressure is in our water system, so we have to match the existing height.
And what is the height?
The top of that existing tower is about 185 feet to the top. Water level's probably 175 feet. Construction's going to last, we anticipate, 2 construction seasons. So we anticipate in fall of 2024 construction ending. The existing tower has multiple deficiencies that were identified in a water facility plan. It was identified as a project of basically an item that has met its useful life and needed to be replaced. All those deficiencies added together led to our decision to install a new water tower. The current water tower is constructed in 1937, so it's 86 years old. The additional capacity will help serve growth and have additional capacity for emergency uses for firefighting and things like that the existing tower has. It doesn't have. The bid came in at approximately $9 million for construction. Turnkey, that's all things included.
And how's that being funded?
That's being funded in-house through water rates. We originally looked at dressing the old tower up and keeping it, but with all the deficiencies that it has, those deficiencies are still there. Spending that kind of money for deficiencies just to maintain it, to look at without having it serve its useful purpose, which is a water tower, was deemed financially irresponsible. There's been discussions about what to do with the existing elevated tower. Unfortunately, the tower is going to have to come down. We've looked at maybe ways of preserving it, using pieces of metal and being able to give pieces of metal away, from the roof or something like that, as a souvenir or as something to remember it by. We're going to do our best to, in other ways, document it, make sure its existence was documented, and that we can preserve its history in that regard. It's anticipated that their usual life is between 80 to 100 years. So that's what we'd anticipate this new tower to be, a new landmark for the city of Idaho Falls, for the next 80 to 100 years. Fortunately, the library board and the library director here for the city of Idaho Falls Library offered this location for us. This location works well because, as you can see, the tower that's nearly adjacent to us across South Capitol Avenue, this site is close to the existing well that feeds the elevated tower the water. It turns out that this site works out actually really well for us from a logistical standpoint. We had planned, we were chasing the decision to do South Capitol Park. Obviously, this turned out to actually be offered to us by the library, turned out to actually be a better site, closer to the existing well than South Capitol Park. When we had the opportunity to move here, we jumped at it. The contractor that was brought on board, the low bid was awarded to Phoenix Fabricators and Erectors. They do these types of elevated towers that we're building all across the nation. They have legitimately a list of hundreds of these types of water towers that they've built elsewhere. We chose them due to their experience, plus they were low bid. When they start construction, excavation will obviously be first. They're looking at doing the underground work, which is piping and everything like that goes below the foundation. Secondary would be the foundation, the concrete foundation for the water tower. Following the foundation work, they will be doing the concrete pedestal that supports the bowl. The concrete pedestal, once it is completed, they will then start erecting the steel bowl. The bowl gets erected at ground level around the concrete pedestal, and then once it's nearly complete, gets jacked up to the top and welded in place, and then the roof gets capped on at the very end, and then comes painting. Sometimes they paint on ground level, sometimes they wait until it gets jacked up and then they paint it, elevate it.
It's that time of year again for high school students who have an interest in gaining some real-world hands-on experience in the trades, including framing, siding, drywall, electrical, plumbing, flooring, roofing, and a whole lot more. The 5th annual Construction Combine event. This 2-day event will include training in various construction skills and the opportunity to demonstrate your skills to local employers while building sheds that will be donated to local disabled veterans. This event is going to take place in the Technical Careers High School in the parking lot across from the Bonneville High School tennis courts. This event is made possible by the College of Eastern Idaho, the Home Depot, and the Idaho Army National Guard. Participation is free and you can register through the QR code or through the College of Eastern Idaho website.
Parking, as always, has been one of the key factors that the city's been looking at. The city has created a map of available parking spaces for people to hopefully utilize while the library is open during library hours. That map is available on the city's website and can be accessed there. Local businesses will also have poster boards of that map, and we will be also distributing flyers of the map so that people can get acquainted with where to park while construction is occurring. That is correct. We will modify the parking lot somewhat by being able to adjust the way the landscaping currently sits. We're able to reconfigure the parking lot with perhaps a loss, I believe, of 1 parking stall by the time it's all said and done. By current design standards, we should be able to salvage just about every parking stall that's currently here. There are safety concerns, but those have been looked at partially with the design. The pedestal will actually, at ground level, will be fenced off to keep people away from it. There is no exterior access up to the elevated tower. You can only access it from the inside of the pedestal, which is under lock and key secured. So as far as people getting up, no one will be up on the tower unless we know about it. And as far as other aspects of things from the elevated tower, that's a good question, but like I said, I don't see there being any issues. And when construction is occurring on the elevated tower, we'll obviously cordon off an area that makes it safe for individuals below. Choosing the design we did there's a couple of factors. One was footprint. The existing tower behind us has a much larger footprint due to the extended legs that come off of it. The new tower is going to have a much smaller footprint than the existing one does. Not only that, being able to maintain it, the pedestal's made of concrete, which does not require necessarily paint or any kind of other surface treatment that has to be maintained over its useful life. Existing tower behind us has every single square inch of that surface needs to be maintained. So cost savings, O&M cost savings over its useful life was large use. Just the parking map. Obviously parking is going to be a big issue, and we've taken a look at that. We'd like them to utilize that map, become acquainted with those areas and to do their best to abide by those requirements. The 2 key points is that this tower will be a landmark that will get us through the next 80 to 100 years, help us with growth, and that just like the existing tower has been for the past 80 years, the new tower will be that landmark going into the future. Construction's anticipated to start on May 8th.